keep thinking this way and say, what is the core of everything that we do? What is at the very core of everything that we do? That book to me answers that. And it's agnostic. It doesn't tell you do any specific methods and practices that are specific. It is very agnostic, and it allows us to actually look ourselves first in the context of a team, right? So now it says anybody that you stand up and look at in the client side, anyone, you stand up in the middle of the floor and look, all of them are your team. All of them is a culture transfer opportunity. All of them become your job to actually transfer knowledge for the purpose of having a culture of coaching, right? So that is the first thing that we need to internalize. We are not there for a specific group of people. We are there to influence a culture of coaching that allows the company to leverage the people they already have in a much quicker way, and they are the one that get the credit, not us. We are not on the front end. It's them, right? So we need to make them look good. So once they begin to see that, wow, I can coach my guys with the discipline. I don't even need to change my profession. I don't have to stop being a finance guy, but I can get this coaching discipline that helps my whole area improve. And that new culture of, I'm going to help you asking questions, that's a discipline, right? That becomes a culture later. So we have to make sure that we keep that in mind. The other piece that I like us to continue to keep in focus, because remember, I'm doing this because I'm already seeing us working together. I'm not dreaming that anymore, right? We're doing this because, in short, we're going to be working together. And I want for us to be apart, but together. So when we go into a client, we are together. And when we are in there, we are a team. We are the core of the transformation as we know it. So we need to go in there, not with arrogance, but understanding that it's on us to be effective in helping the client establish a foundation for transformation, right?
Feedback loop.
Right?
You're cheating, man.
Sorry, it's a joke.
Show us the entire mess. This guy, I imagine he's having a lot of thoughts.
I am very excited about this stuff. I want for you guys to talk a little more about the book. Tell me about what a practice that really hits you hard, and so we can discuss that one a little bit. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, in my case, the highlights is first, in the same way the book writes, why is very good for me, in my understanding, to support with clients. Why change? Because in my reading, I was thinking as a director, which I was. The first feeling was, why do I need to change when I was a director? The first thing, why one person or one company is talking about something they don't even know, as I know, and what do they have? So in the highlights of the book is, the first thing is why to change, why coaching, and I take the transformational coaching paradigm, which makes me a framework of a mental framework to approach beliefs, behaviors, results. That's the thing that makes me sound as a milestone to to structure all ideas of the book. I'm not sure, it's my feeling.
Yeah, no, you're right, and actually that's a good point. And well, I'm trying to touch a different point, but that one was really clear that I read, and it says that you have also to start from numbers. I mean, it's not just about coaching and everything's going to be fine, but you have to find certain way how to show enhancement in the organization. So, and I think that it's already in the foundation part. I also was interested on the feedback loop because it says that it's like the heart of entire transformational coaching, and it's about, he talks about setting always expectations with the people, the managers, or anyone that we're coaching, and always be have the humility to give a good feedback, not just try to harass with certain solutions, but instead of that, try to listen to them carefully and construct with them a solution that they could definitely go for or decide for. And I think that's a different approach, because when people thinks about a solution that actually was something that they decided to do, it becomes of them, not just some consultant that it's saying, hey, you should just transform your organization in this way. And that was a really good one, because I think that many coaches out there, they try just to go and sell, or at least in agility part, they try to sell models or implementations that they don't even have been into the client's roots. They do not know the culture, or they don't even know, as you said, Luis, like the pains of the business that they want to relieve. So I think that's a good one.
Well, I have a phrase: the position of the director, or the task of the director, is let the people happy on what they ask, and not just do the things that a director asks. It's about the heart. It's very impressive for me talking about the heart. It's comfortable because I see it every time. Most of the times I said the people know what to do, but how is the intention and how is the passion for doing things? It's great. It's the difference. It's a competitive advantage. I mean, in terms of business.
Tell me a little bit more about when you read that part about the DBRR, because that is one key skill, and I call it a skill because that, to me, is the heart of coaching. How do you see yourself coming back to that? How will you use it? Behavior, beliefs, results.
The vision and results and everything about when you start setting up the foundation level. Well, I think that it's important to know, first of all, the organization and as it's structured. For that, I think that Thomas Crane, he never speaks about agile, but I think he has a great point. He sets up an environment. He can just go and be face-to-face with the client, face-to-face with the people that he's actually coaching. The behavioral part, for example, it's like the competences, I think, for the coach, if I don't remember bad, but it says how a coach should be competent in certain activities, for example, in behavioral part, how you handle situations that sometimes are difficult with some people. Spoke about coaching and mentoring.
I remember when I read that I remember a movie, Inception. It's the movie of this because the power of an insight or a belief make us really do what we want to do and have the passion to do that. Remember that one CEO of a big company has fear to do something because he has not approval of his father. Belief, behavior, relationships, and results, and is congruence. When you are congruent with what you think, and what you say, and what you do, that's a natural way of do the right things and do the things right as the book said too.
Now let's go back into our context. Think about a difficult or an environment in which you are currently interacting, and now look at BBRR and tell me how will you use it to make progress in that environment?
The first in the priorities is belief. When I approach, mainly as a salesman, the first approach is understand very quickly the beliefs that people have. That beliefs make people do what they do. There is a stage of research. It's a part of research about what is going on in a business unit or in a company to, first of all, empathize with the person. The rapport, it's very common in sales. It's very important. It's the first time to talk about the same topics that matters to that guy. They have challenge. Understand, research, and talk about the beliefs that people have in that company because of the culture and the person is the first step to start a conversation. Interesting conversation, not for me, for the guy in front of me. The beliefs they have is the first step. So growing the relationship.
How do you, in a stand-up meeting or in a direction planning or in a quarterly planning or in a strategic planning, will identify someone's belief based on the conversation?
Most of the times is el lenguaje corporal. Las veces que repite las cosas o hacia dónde lleva las conversaciones, ¿no? En ese feedback de conversación.
Now listen to what you just said, okay? Lenguaje corporal, the way in which it leads the conversation. So now you're in the middle of a session. You're in front of a middle management team that is considering or was sent to a meeting with us because the top VP said you have to. And now we are talking to them about what. So based on what we know today, based on we read the book, we have been talking, now you have in our minds, we are a team. I need to build a team. This is my audience for transformation. How would you guys approach and use this BBRR that you see on the screen right now as a tool to help you better facilitate a transformational conversation? We need to be intentional about this, and we need to be effective about it in a way that we don't take too much time either. Remember, we have a pressure of how fast can you help me from our sponsor, right? So we have the pressure of time. So that is a normal pressure for us, and we need to understand it. What do you do to listen and understand their beliefs without them knowing? You want to connect the dots to beliefs through conversations. And you said corporal language, which is a part or a type of conversation, if you ask me, right? So now, what else? Now think about it. We're in the session, nothing that we haven't done before. We're in front of people, and you need to transform these people. So how do you keep focus and say, I'm conversing, I want to understand this person's beliefs so I can understand how to help introduce the transformation without saying the word transformation.
¿Vale? Creo que this kind of consultancy and coaching is a matter of create new capabilities with the prospect. Lo que quiero decir es, necesitamos entender desde el primer approach con el prospecto cliente cuáles han sido las conversaciones para ir construyendo, ¿sí? Si yo estoy en un contexto en donde hay, no sé, está el comité de dirección de una empresa, para mí tuve que haber construido un poquito antes en la conversación de un sponsor que me guiara un poco en esto, pero si ya estoy ahí, voy a poner un contexto. Ya hice un research, voy a facilitar alguna sesión en donde ellos mismos pongan los topics en la mesa. Digo, tú y yo tuvimos un curso que me diste y me encanta la forma del radar, ¿no? De decir, ustedes evalúense, no yo. A partir de eso, construimos y jalamos, pero yo sé que estoy haciendo trampa.
I want to focus on beliefs because it's important that you understand we're going to be, we are not going to, we are facing this every day, whether it is at home, whether it is in your current team. If you are at team level, you're talking to a group of executives. I don't care where you are. You're facing it today, but we are not conscious about capturing belief because we're not trained to think that that's one of the steps for us to do transformational coaching. Our team, when we began to apply these concepts and learn, and we develop a set of understanding of how to capture belief in conversations. Practice listening for beliefs. This book is going to take you a long time to really read it because it's going to take a week for letter. It's like 1 week practicing how to listen for belief. 1 week practicing how to listen for behavior. You understand? Listening for behavior is different. This is the heart of transformational coaching from the strategic approach to coaching. We cannot be ad hoc. We have to be strategic. Transformation requires strategy. We need to be strategic at all times. Otherwise, you're just a Scrum Master working on a very small scope. I want for you to challenge yourself. Listen for beliefs in whomever you are working with as professional, enterprise, strategic, transformational coaches to understand this skill. And we need to value it and practice it and be able to teach it to someone else.
My belief is people do the things because they have beliefs. So, indirectamente, las cosas que hacen pueden ser patrón de lo que ellos creen. Digo, sé que llevan una secuencia, pero sé que nos estamos yendo a behaviors, pero do you think this is a good way of understand these beliefs?
On this simple little BBRR emblem, look at this. This book is giving us this BBRR as a tool. I added in the middle the team, and I put in the middle transformational. In the context of working, we need to understand beliefs are principles, are values, are things we treasure, things we protect because they are directional in nature. Where our beliefs such as, I believe in marriage. I'm not the one that stayed single too long, and if I have a girlfriend, I'm going to marry one day. That's a belief. It's something core. A principle and a belief, values, those are in that box that you need to understand how to listen for that. In the context of our environment, we are going to be listening for those. You're going to know how this person feels around the overall society. Then there's that inner circle that says, you're going to know how this person feels about this industry. You're going to know how this person feels and believes about this sector, this bank, this company, this department, this role. You need to understand how to listen for that. One way we apply this is if we are listening, we capture trigger words, and then you verify those against the other letters. So for example, if Luis says the word, it's important that the business is business, we connect to the business. That tells me that there's a belief there that is very strong for Luis. So if I want to transform Luis to think from business to not business, what do I need to do? Understand his belief. That's the structure from which he behaves. So if I'm not going to tell Luis right away he had to change, don't talk business here. No, I can't do that. It's like trying to stop a train coming down at 80 miles an hour. The resistance that we are facing in the day-to-day in our transformation effort comes from us triggering that resistance and not listening for the belief.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So now what we have to do is understand the belief. Once you understand the belief, then you have a structure from which you can map your transformation. We are not going to walk into a client unless we go in as the experts. we are the experts. We are not going over there to figure it out. As a team, you're going to walk in and out better. You're going to walk into this client together, and you are going to go out with this client twice better. You have to measure your maturity in this based on your scope and ability to identify and listen for these 4 things: beliefs, behavior, relationships, results. And I'm going to give you a quick example. If I am in this environment and I know Luis has a strong belief that focus around connecting to the business objectives is strong, this is something that I'm not going to try to attack from right away, because I'm trying to move a pillar in his life, in his professional career. The next thing that I do is listen for 2 different things, either behaviors or results. You will find out immediately. Now, Luis speaks about it. Business is very important. But we go to a meetings, but he doesn't speak about it there. He doesn't necessarily even pushes the fact that he doesn't behave to support that belief. So now in that observation, I am questioning whether or not that is a true belief. I don't have time to figure out Luis. I just met him. Do you think I'm going to go over there and tell him, hey, you really believe in this thing? I'm the coach. I need to transform. I need to move to the objective of this business. That's what they hired me for. Now I have Luis in front of me, and I'm looking and observing, and I'm making my mental notes and my hand notes, and I understand I have a question mark in Luis's business belief. How do I find out whether or not it's real before I even approach him about how to go about improving it? My first thing is behaviors, and I don't see it. Okay, maybe he's afraid, maybe there's fear, and I take my note. The next thing I know is results. What are the results that Luis have that has him here? Are there any results that speak to his belief? Those are the 2 things that are closer to belief. This is not, I'm walking in on, what are we going to talk about today? That's not us. We walk in, we are professionals, we are the experts. We just walked in and we met Luis today. The next day, we walk in, Luis keeps preaching beliefs. We engage into the first meetings, and Luis doesn't speak that way. My first is, there's some fear. Maybe the environment is a fearful environment. I'm listening for that, taking notes. What do I do with fear? I'm a coach, I should know. Then I go into the behavior. How is Luis behaving? It's questionable. So I need to move Luis from being a crazy business guy that doesn't want to listen to anything else besides just that, right? That's the resistance that we are facing. That's the people we need to transform, right?
Yeah.
To help transform, correct? Okay, so now I'm going to look for the results. I ask for reports. I ask for results. How do they look like today? How do you measure performance today? How do we know we are successful today? Questions. Intentional questions. Because now we can connect. Oh yeah, he does have freaking business results. So that is in alignment with his supposed to be belief that I'm introduced to this week. Now you want to really confirm this thing, you have to go through the whole cycle. Who is Luis hanging out with? Who are his friends? Who are the people that he believes has the answers for him? You have to learn how to navigate and listen for these 4 things in everything you do. So I want to share something with you. What are some of the things that is important for us is we understand that we need to understand and know Agile. We need to understand and know Scrum, Kanban, Lean, system thinking, design thinking, all of those things. We need to understand it, guys. We need to be experts at it, but not to preach it and to sell it as a product, but to use it as a tool. This is what we call this when we created it is connecting the dots to the trigger words that we need to learn and become more conscious about. If you sensors that come up, this is a connection of words and that connect to practices and then connect you and say, I heard this word several times, therefore this is a potential belief, and this belief has these practices associated and connected to it that I need to now consider as part of my next step. So now listen to this. It's important. So the colors and all of that stuff that you're looking at, and look at the connections, okay? What is the objective?
High performing teams.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
We are working around 4 key business capabilities. And we are ensuring that we have in those 4 key business capabilities that we want to help the business enable those and leverage them so they can move through their strategy faster. One of those 4 key business capabilities is developing and enabling high-performing team. For Sendo, this is a business capability that we help the business enable. For example, here you are going to see value principles. Look at the colors are here. And what value principles are associated with practices, okay, to things that need to be done. We have trigger words that are specifically associated to that. Risk of how to approach that value principle, and patterns and anti-patterns that are associated when you identify a value of a principle. And this is applicable not just at the individual level, but also at the system level. So we have to understand that. Respect and for people and culture, that is something we learn in where? In Agile, Scrum, right? What are the key trigger words that we need to keep in touch when talking about respecting people and culture? What are the key behaviors that need to be associated to when somebody behaves that they respect someone? What are the key practices that will allow us to build that? As you move through this, it's important that you are going through this process, that you are understanding that you are executing to your experience in a conscious way. No longer we're going to walk in and just, oh, let me figure it out. We're going to figure things out because we really don't know it. Not because, oh, last week I heard this word, it didn't mean anything to me. I just kept talking about picking Scrum.
Clear enough.
Okay, so not us, guys. Not this team. We are the experts. We are the transformational leaders. The reason why I'm saying this is because now, when you observe these things and you get back together into your daily retro and you share your observations on key behaviors at the system level, remember, you're talking to the people that own systems, directors, VPs, they own systems. Their behavior are going to be supportive of the system. Their speech is going to be supportive of the system. The relationships they have tells you how is that system being supported. The results are the system level results. Mm-hmm. Whether you are at the VP level, the CX level, or at the program level, or at the team level. System level thinking and listening is very important for us. This has changed the way you walk into a client from now on. So now I'm going to ask you again, let's go back. I just listened to Luis. I just met him and he said these things. So now, what is your mind thinking? He said about business. Oh, Luis has a strong belief about connecting to the business, focusing on business objectives. So now, what are you doing next? What are you thinking now?
I think that this is a mental map of certain, well, I don't want to say competencies, but key aspects of how to sustain the information and the things that you need. For example, if Luis starts talking about business, maybe the next part of it will be workflow and deliver value, because that's attached. And yes, you can construct on that. You want to know how he's planning great and where he's putting the business solutions and the teams. Maybe will start speaking about certain products that they have, or at least what it's important for them, and that also could lead to sustainable pace or continuous improvement. That it's just about going through a part of the belief that he has and construct from there.
Yes, as the diagrams tell us, is that, of course, we need to test and prove and experience that kind of things that maybe are around our experience, but sometimes are not structures, as I see in your mind map.
Okay, so now you are capturing the experience that is validated by your practice. So you are learning, they are learning. So now it's important, as you see here, hey, I have in here quality. This company cares about quality. What is it that I need to be thinking of next? Who has that belief in the organization?
Mm-hmm.
Who is the one that speaks about quality with passion?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
That's a good one. No,
okay, so
it's an example, my friend.
I'm sorry. It's just I get excited with this with this thing.
Okay, so now imagine walking in, how your scope now of influence as a coach has expanded, become more clear. Now you can do a whole lot more with less.
Well, and it makes sense what you said about the sensors.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a mental construction of certain aspects and certain tools and issues and trigger words that the client has, building those beliefs, it's easier in a way that you can just go for the main topics that you want to listen to in order to sustain or construct the behavioral part, because that's going to lead to here it's really clear, like you go from results to how they actually are doing things.
Correct.
And you're going to get anti-patterns there, and you're going to get all this information needed to start building the next part about results. Because if you don't have at least a clear way of understanding of how they do the process right now, you can now understand why the results are being measured in that way and how they are measuring that way.
Mm-hmm.
And it totally makes sense. Yeah.
See, this is a lot of work here. This is a lot of experience here.
Yes, I'm
okay,
sure
this is not coaching an agile team. I'm talking about coaching a system. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Look at the amount of work that we put together to transfer the knowledge, because we are doing train the trainer. We are not going to go there, and at least not initially. It's not about going in there, about staying in a team level. We want to be transformational, right? So we want to impact the big scope, the system. So in order to do that, we need to walk in understanding how we do that with the experience we have. How do we validate that experience every single day, every environment?
Okay.
Right?
And improving this, and you're improving this constantly.
Constantly.
I'm sure
this is a constant going back to. So you are going to see, look at this. Just from support work belongs to the team, right? That comes from where? From flow of work.
Flow of work.
Okay, that comes from where? From respect and people proportion. So I respect people and the culture. Then how are they working together? How are they connected? That's my first thing. Where is the flow of work? How does that become either a practice that I need to consider, and or look at that, specific key areas that we need to make sure that we are going to be talking about next. As a transformational coach at the system level, if I have a lean coffee forum within the organization, guess what I'm going to tell them to talk about next?
Okay.
When they ask you, hey, what topic do you think we should have in a lean coffee? Are you going to say, let's do the hackathon? Let's talk about how we feel when we, walk. No. So if you're listening for these things and you understand these things and you're the transformational coach on site and you have already identified some gaps, issues, you need help. Let's say you two are together. This place is big. This is Salinas. It's huge. How can two people influence transformation this way? Because we are not trying to do it ourselves. We are leveraging the people that is there. We are building on their beliefs, and we are giving them the practice without them knowing what practices, because we are simply getting them inside of their day-to-day. We're leveraging their passion so they can talk about what we need to talk about if we wanted to do it. Different resolution process, we have more things to consider here, and you can see how all of this healthy backlog is so much to consider. Look at here, healthy backlog. But I want for you guys to see how it is that we are connecting the dots to our experience. We are connecting the dots to all of this alignment, a problem in alignment. Conversations are next. So I want to talk to you about conversations next, but we run out of time. It's important that you understand that what we are doing today in the traditional form is totally and completely different. What we are transferring right now, the team that we're trying to build right now, is not a team that's going to go traditional about anything. We need to add the structure. You see, as you see here, we have some structure that we need to follow, and that is not it. Just I want for you to consider this: a decoder to understand, or at least closer understand these relationships. Look at that. What is this? Do you remember this?
Yes, it's a Scrum.
What do I need to focus on? And if I want to make that happen, what needs to be focusing on that? Focus, respect, commitment, openness. Lack of focus, what does it do? What is the key role, key skill I need to help with? If I'm a coach, what is the key skill that I need to transfer if I want to get those things triggered? So I can begin to listen for behavior change. So I can begin to listen for belief change. Because I believe. I come from waterfall, and now I need to believe that Agile is it, Scrum is it, Kanban is it, right? So isn't that a change that I need to influence? So how does someone that has that background of a traditional coming into a new role, how do I convert that project manager into a Scrum Master?
Beliefs and behaviors.
Okay, so now what? We need to understand these relationships. These relationships are key to our next steps. So these key connections, I need to train the process of Scrum. When do I need to train the process of Scrum? With what focus do I need to train it? And it's not just, oh, let's do Scrum. It's different to teach you to drive when you know that you need to drive in a race, or it's different to teach you just to drive.
It's totally different.
So your training has to be focused towards a need the company has. You're teaching them Scrum, you're teaching them Safe, you're doing the class, but the focus of the training is towards you triggering a new behavior, a new belief. So that as a team, you understand these connections and you build on those connections, and then you can see what are the openness, what's the point to? Openness, customer collaboration over contract negotiation. So how do I trigger openness?
Trust.
What is this here?
Courage.
How do I trigger that without saying you're weak? Right? Yeah. So how do we teach that? So we have to ensure that we understand how to use what when based on the needs that we identify. That's being an enterprise coach. You're strategic about everything you do because the strategy is to transform. So if every move you make is not to that, then you're wasting time, client time, your time. This is not for perfection. This is for improving our chances at winning. This is practice, 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 practice. So every day, you put those things to action. Hey, I'm going to listen for trust today. Ross can tell you about this. Hey, we're going to a meeting together. You listen, what are you listening for today? I'm going to pay attention to behavior today. Okay. I'm going to facilitate. I won't be able to listen much. So behavior, you interact, you talk. That means that you are seeing certain behavior that I need to pay attention to. It's important that you guys consider how you are going to take next week. Consider how you're going to practice and listen. Take notes of what you listen for. What is the conversation about, and how that conversation took place. You are now building your new sensors. Okay, and throughout the week, hey, if you have like a breakthrough, share it. Put it in our group. You're gonna see how you're gonna change your approach. You're gonna learn how to listen better. The technical, your guys are going to be eventually editing this thing, adding new things, cleaning it up, making new connections, and teaching new trigger words, decoding conversations. Because people in meetings are very political, and we need to understand what they mean. Some of us have that natural approach to be political, understand how to navigate in that environment. If we want to scale this, we need to be able to teach, train the trainer. One thing is natural scaling, because we have a natural skill set. Another thing is scaling a team of teams type approach, the SWAT team. So when we defined this, it was to do the trainer. It was to be able to transfer the knowledge into a client so they cannot be the one that create their own connections, their own decoders, and the whole thing. And we can do that on site as we are going. Just like right now, you guys are getting some very special attention that says, if I was in Salinas with Luis, I would be doing all of this without him knowing. The idea is transform the person that you're closest to, because that duplicates you immediately. The real life of your awareness right now is Monday when I go in, I have a meeting. Who is it? What is the objective? Ask those questions of yourself. What do I want to get out of that meeting? Who in there I need to go to next? You have to be strategic. Don't work one day at a time. I need this behavior to be visualized. That's what my value comes, is in that behavior being seen. And people saying certain things. This resistance is less. I'm getting more questions now. That's behavior observed. What beliefs are you seeing that is changing? In this week, I want you to pay attention to that. Document it, because that's the beginning of your documentation that you're going to discuss with the team. And then you're going to come back and say, the team is going to say, hey, that sounds like something we haven't considered. Let's add it to our decoder machine. Let's add it to our trigger words, principles, and beliefs.
Okay, clear.
Okay.
Crystal clear.
Awesome, guys. So I appreciate you guys giving me the time today. And I hope that we can continue doing this in a way that now you are going to begin to bring in your contributions, your experience, right? So I want you to bring your experience to life.
Okay.
And if in the middle of the week you guys feel like, hey, I tried this and this is the response, hey, Paige, send me a note, and I'll try to respond to you guys as soon as possible on that, and see if I can give you some suggestions or bounce some things, right? Bounce some back and forth, and then you can see your behavior. So you can see, hey, I'm trying to get to this behavior. Man, I don't see the connection. So those are the things that you have to now start thinking about. Okay?
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
This is exciting, guys. You know I can do this all day.
Very exciting.
Man, I didn't even realize it was already 11 o'clock.
Yeah, look at that, 15 minutes over. Next time, maybe once we get into the actual nitty-gritty of from this, now we go into the other document that I showed you last week, which is this one. I'm not sure if I remember that document I sent you last week. Well, that document is based on our observation of behaviors in specific stages of the transformation. So So you're going to be able to see once we go into that when we start like this one right here. So
yeah.
Okay, so this one was, I created this one about 10 years ago. And then every time I get into a team, we begin to improve it. We begin to organize it better, and we begin to refine it. So this is everyday refinement through every engagement. So this is up to date as you see it. So the PPM is Portfolio Program Management Standard. Okay, so it's important because Portfolio Program Management Standard is the whole, is the system. So so an Agile System Standard. I'm considering changing it to Agile System Standard because now I have the SWAT team, which is System-Wide Agility Team. So maybe I'm going to get some feedback about that. But the key is that we have specific things. We have to stand that up. There are certain things. And I'm going to show you more stuff as we move forward. And you're going to see how much more fun it's going to be to go into engagements now. It's going to be so much fun because now the challenges are what you're looking for. The politics is playing politics with me, and then you start listening and you're getting all this stuff. Sometimes you get overwhelmed and think, man, okay, what do I do with all this stuff? You go back and okay, let me see. This is the behavior. This is it. This is how I talk to Luis. This is how I talk to Israel. Let me go ahead and see who's in between them. What is the common relationship they had that I can leverage and plant a seed over there, and then I said something over here, and so the next thing they're meeting. So this is coaching. That's the kind of coaching that, to me, is the effective way of not pushing something. So let's leverage what we have, and they are there. So this is very exciting, guys. This is really, really exciting. I think you're gonna like when you guys get into your hands into our stand-up and our strengthening the base and how to establish the sustainable behavior within the communities and so forth. So, man, I'm excited. I don't want to get into it. So let's just go. Before it's too late.
We can stay here for
forever, man. I can do this all day.
Yes.
So you guys have practice. Yeah. Continue to read the book. I want for you to go back. Don't try to go too deep into the book unless you're really fast reader and you want to come back. But go into the book and go back to BRR. And that point, also go back to the training session, because training is one piece that needs to be done with coaching built in. And it says it there, there's a study there in the book that speaks to that. So make sure that you read that part, understand it, and then come back with your experiences this week.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Have a fantastic rest of the Monday, rest of Sunday, and a great week. I'll see you and look forward to your comments moving forward.
Thank you, Eric.
Thanks to you, Eric. This was an awesome one.
Awesome, brother.
See you guys.